Hi, my name is Heather and welcome back to my channel. Today is my May wrap-up. I am at 95 books read for this year. I want to be remembering the things that I've read. So one of the channels that I watched a long time ago, I think it's called Wish Fulfillment or something like that was her channel. And she did reviews for like books 1 through 5, and she did 5 books at a time, which I feel like is really brilliant because I loved like just sitting down, getting cozy. She had a bit of an ASMR voice. It was just very soft and soothing. And she would talk about the 5 books that she read. So because I've read so many books and I also want to remember the things that I read, I might be doing it slightly different where I do videos and I will either make them like the books that I read from that author or so many books from each genre and talk about them that way, but have it more condensed to only be a few books. But for this video, I'm going to do a monthly stats because stats is fun. And I'll give you a little bit here and there about what each of the books is about, but it's going to be very bare bones. So I guess let's get started and let me know how you feel about this video and what you think about my thoughts on how to proceed in the future down below in the comments. For simplicity's sake and the fact that I've done probably 50 takes with different versions of this video, I'm just going to be looking off to the side on my screen to read you the stats and blow up the stats picture as big as I can make it where it fits on the screen. So here we go. Here's the stats. For this month, I read for a total of 29 days, completing 23 books with an average reading pace of 247 pages per day. Grand total of all the pages that I read this month was 7,157. That did include pages read from books that I have not completed. My average star rating for the month came out to be 3.26. 7 of the books were indie or small press books. 11 had some form of diversity. And my ending TBR total, which is books that I have yet to read that I physically own, came down to 542 books, which is a difference of 1 book from last month. 5 books were 5 stars, 7 4 stars, 4 3 stars, 3 2 stars, and 4 1 star. Here is the breakdown stats page ranking for all of the books that I read this month. As far as the individual ratings go, a 1 star means books that I did not like. 2 stars is for books that I thought were okay. 3 stars is for books that I liked. 4 stars, I really liked it. And 5 stars, it was amazing. These are completely subjective ratings that have to do with the reading experience and not the quality or merit of the individual books. That is something I would get into when it comes to actual reviews. I did participate in Bookopoly, which was a 48-hour readathon hosted by Becca and the Books, which is a YouTube channel I highly recommend. I read a total of 4 books during that challenge, 893 pages, and the average star rating was 3 stars. I made 2 separate videos involving these books. One of them was the Bookopoly wrap-up, where I did do reviews for all of these. I also did a She Wore Red Trainers reading vlog, where I picked apart everything that took place in the book. I talked about the different ways that it had representation, how I enjoyed the book, quotes, everything. So the nitty-gritty, as specific as you can get, learn everything about the book type vlog, that's definitely the video you would want to watch. I also read these 3 books here, which I will talk about more extensively in a separate video. It's a bit of a secret project that I've done without telling anyone, so you'll need to stick around if you want to see that video. Click the subscribe button and the notification bell if you want to find out about it when it comes out. My favorite genre of the month wound up being fantasy, with a total of 4 books read, 1,276 pages, and 4.5-star average rating. Mystery, thriller, and suspense wound up being the second highest, with 4 books read, 1,735 pages, and 4-star average rating. For romance, I read 7 books, totaling 1,818 pages, and an average of 3.4 stars. For sci-fi and paranormal, I read 8 books, totaling 1,944 pages, with an average star rating of 2.1, which made it my least favorite genre of the month. So let's get into the fantasy section of books. First up, I have The Scarlet Princess. This is about a girl who winds up going with her cousin under the mountain to meet up with some smugglers to get some vodka. But the mountain winds up collapsing, and now she and the cousin are trapped on that side of the mountain and won't be able to cross back over into their territory for at least 6 months. There's a lot of weather stuff that's happening during this book, and that becomes a very harsh reality because of the fact that, one, our main character is part fae and can detect when weather is going to be bad, and 2, she can't reveal this to anyone because that would make her a target. And 3, if she doesn't reveal to people that she has this ability, then lives are going to be at stake because they are having to cross over a whole bunch of territory to get to this meeting where the clans will decide what the punishment is going to be for them crossing over into the territory unannounced, committing crimes against the country, and also the fact that her parents are people that these clans people do not like because of a war that they had in the past. There is an enemies to lovers romance in here between captor and captive, but the captor doesn't really want to be her captor. He just wants to keep her safe in order to get her to this place where the clan's meeting is going to take place. And then he can try to convince the clan members not to punish her and to just let her either go back to her own side of the country or to be kind of like an ambassador or something like that, other than killing her. That's as much as I can tell you without spoiling the actual books, so I'm not going to say anything else. The second book follows the events of the first book, which is Tarnished Crown. This is when the decision of what to take place has already almost been made, and the plan that they had to save her does not go as intended, and now she's at a whole nother part of the country with new challenges. There is a king who you find out has some form of dementia, so he's not really the one pulling all of the strings. And the guy who she is now stuck with may not be as bad as we think he is. So there does become a bit of a love triangle scenario in the second book between her and 2 people who have each been captors at one point. There is no cheating that happens during either of these stories, so you can rest assured that's not the case if that's something you would not be into. But I will say that it is a very convincing love triangle with reasons for and against both of the relationships. I love it. You really, 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 really need to read the series. Next up, we have another series by the same set of authors. All of these 4 books in this fantasy section, I listened to an audio, and the audio narrator is the same for both series, which can be slightly confusing if you're doing like me, where I read the first 2 books of one series and then decided to go back and read the first 2 books of the prequel series to this series. So yeah, but I still am really, really liking it. She does a great job of having a convincing male character voice. So this prequel series, you don't have to read it first. I am a testament to that because I started with the second series. You will get some spoilers if you start with the second series. I'm liking the second series more, so I mean, it's really up to you. If you start the first series and you're not jiving with it, still give the second series a chance. So this first series, Winter's Captive and Spring's Rising, follows her mother when she's a teenager. She is set to marry Oliver, who she's been betrothed to basically all of her life. However, on their wedding night, Oliver goes missing, and she and his half-brother set out to go rescue him. Just like the other series, they're having to cross dangerous terrain in order to save a life. So in the first series that I mentioned, it's in order for her not to get killed for breaking these rules. And in the second one, it's in order to save this prince dude that she is supposed to marry. There is the whole friends to lovers. There's also a bit of a mystery element as far as the reasons why Logan, the half-brother, hasn't stuck around, even though their friendship was so good before he left. So they kind of hate each other, but now they're having to team up in order to save his brother. But there are things that we don't know about the brother that Logan does, and when these secrets come out, she may have a change of heart as far as what she wants to do when it comes to a wedding. So that's all I can really say about book 1 without getting into too much detail. Book 2 is completely fleeing my brain right now. So I don't remember what happened. I do, but I don't. I'm kind of confused. I read these back to back, so I feel like they've blended, and I don't think that this one has as much of a separation as the first series, where there's a very distinct turning point, whereas this one seems like it's all continuing. So I don't know what is going to happen next, and I'm really excited to find out, but without giving any spoilers, and because I'm spacing out on exactly what happened in book 2, I can't really say anything else about this. So those are the fantasy books that I read this month. Next up, we have our mystery, thriller, and suspense section. Some Choose Darkness is the first in a series. This follows an investigator who can recreate scenes. So she's the kind of person where she goes into cases that are unsolved, dives into it to the point where she gets to know the victim, and then she pieces together the events of whatever took place. This has some parts that take place in 1979 when a serial killer is on the loose, and then other parts that are taking place more current day, I think 2015, something like that, around when the book came out. So it was current when it came out. She also happens to be on the autism spectrum and have OCD and anxiety issues, which I also have lots of that stuff. So I was reading it, and before they ever named any of these things for the reader to understand why she was displaying certain attributes, I knew what was going on, because I was like, yep, that's me. In order to manage some of her OCD tendencies, she works on restoring antique dolls, because it helps her to have a specific outlet in order to throw all of her focus so that she doesn't become completely overwhelmed and burned out by everything else. Also, when she takes a case, she goes so far into it and just gets very involved that she needs a lot of time to recover afterward. I've definitely suffered from burnout where I get super sucked into something and then I can't do anything else until I finish that thing, such as this video, which I have been prepping for, I'm not even kidding, like 5 hours. We're not even talking about a script here. We're just talking about making the graphics, organizing it, deciding how I want to do it, and then filming like 40 takes. I'm not even kidding. It's ridiculous. But this is the last take. I'm not doing this again. So anyway, that all being said, I can totally relate to this character, which is one of the reasons why it wound up being a 5-star read for me. I just loved Rory in general. I liked the mystery of trying to figure out not only who the serial killer was from the past and why we kept seeing him, because her case had nothing to do with these murders that happened in the past. But you wind up seeing why she needs to figure out this stuff that happened in the past, because there is a link between her and the case. I can't really say anything, all right? But the murders were gruesome. This guy basically liked to self-asphyxiate while hanging his victims in front of himself. And he would do it multiple times until they would just die. That's what he did. He was a creeper. The red herrings in this book were so good that there was like 3 different people that you thought were the one. And it wasn't until probably 75% of the book when you finally get a name where you can connect some of the pieces together and you're like, oh, okay, now I know who the serial killer is. Which you're in his head for a lot of the books, but you don't know his name. And he's in prison and he's going to get released. That's how the book starts off, is that this guy dies because he knows that this guy is going to get released and he has like a heart attack. And you find out who the guy is that has the heart attack. And then you find out that that guy is connected to Rory. So then that's when all the pieces start to fall into place. It was so good. The representation was good. The plot was good. The writing was good. The fact that this is a male author writing a female character that I can get on board with. Heck yes. Charlie Donovan or Charlie Donlea. Yes, on my list for authors to continue reading. Awesome. Which leads me to the 4-star book that I have on here, which is the follow-up to this, which was The Suicide House. The back jacket copy that describes what's happening in this book had me like, oh my gosh. And it does have Rory in the book, but not as significantly as the first book. And because I loved Rory so much, that was why this one got a 4-star. There wasn't enough Rory. I needed more Rory. Also, her boyfriend's in it. Oh my gosh. Love interest. As far as love interest go, yes, someone that understands like your quirks and your differences and appreciates you and doesn't try to overcompensate, but also doesn't always like ask questions or like, I don't know. He knows when to push and when to lay off. And I really liked that. And just the sweet stuff that he did. Like, he gets her to come with him on this case. And it would be like the equivalent of like color coordinating everything in a refrigerator. He basically did that for her, knowing that it would make her feel more calm in this new environment. And I was just like, yeah, that's my kind of man. So I liked getting to see that and having him more in it. Also, I really want a pair of like the Madden Girl combat boots now because Rory wears them and Rory is like my new best friend. I want to be Rory without all of the past stuff because oh my gosh. But anyway, so this book, The Suicide House, is about this boarding school that all these kids go to. And during the summers, they play these pranks. And they're part of a secret society at this boarding school. And the members who are part of the society start dying. So they each like commit suicide by train. And you're trying to figure out, okay, why are they all doing this? What's up with this? Like, why are they all doing this? And this is after there was like 2 homicides like the year before, and now all the survivors are dying. You get to see again into the murderer's head, but you don't know how that murder is connected to the new murders. And I almost thought there was going to be some sort of paranormal aspect to it, which there's no paranormal aspect. So don't be fooled by the blurb. If you're expecting paranormal, you will be disappointed. However, I really enjoy how all the pieces came together and it did make sense because with the blurb, I was like, I don't know how anything other than some sort of supernatural thing is causing these kids to do this. Had a little bit of I Know What You Did Last Summer vibes. So if you like that, if you like Louise Duncan, I feel like you'll like this sort of thing. I don't want to say anything else about it other than that there is crime podcasters who are characters as well that are trying to solve all of these suicide cases because they don't think that they're suicides. They don't think that they're suicides because why are all these kids just turning up dead? And the fact that one of the kids was talking to one of the podcasters and let on that he wasn't supposed to say anything. Like, he would get in trouble or something if he said something. Like, he knew something. And the thing is that this guy who got arrested for these homicides and put into the loony bin as like an insane person, he had tried to jump in front of the train too. So they were like, why is he trying to do this? It's just, it made it seem like the character was saying that the guy who got convicted of the crime didn't do the initial homicide. So you've got the mystery of like, did he commit the homicide? And then why are these kids all dying? It was really good. Yeah, you gotta read it. Then we've got TripTych by Karin Slaughter. I don't remember all of the details of the story. I do, but it's hard to summarize, if that makes sense. There is a killer. Lots of killers in this section. He sexually assaults his victims and then bites off their tongues. It's really gross. And also, some of these victims are minors. So if you don't read things that are super dark, stay away from this one. It does have prostitutes in this book who are helping out with the case. So it shows them as like helpful members of society other than like degrading the prostitutes. Our main character, who was convicted of murdering this girl when she was like 14 and he was also 14, and they had been enemies, but then they were romantic, and it was like they went to this party together and they were doing it and all that stuff, and then she wound up dead like the next day, and he gets put into jail for it, but it's like, did he actually do it or was he framed? So you're trying to figure out, and he's just trying to like reintegrate with society and stuff like that after, but then these murders are happening again that follow the same MO. Like, it's still the like sexual assault and then the missing tongue. When you find out who the murderer is, because I feel like you know right away that the guy who got put into jail for this is not a bad guy. Like, I got that vibe without needing any information. He just didn't come off as the guy that would do these crimes. I won't tell you who is the guy, because that would be a spoiler. But when you find out who it is, you're like, oh my gosh. And the links that were went to in order for this guy to not go to jail. And then his current attitude toward some of the other women in the book. You're just like, how did no one know? I didn't like the guy. Now, the main character in the series is Will Trent, and he, again, is like an investigator detective dude. Now, this is the part of the story where I don't really remember much, because he didn't play a significant part in the book, and yet this is like his series. It doesn't make sense. I'm not going to continue because I don't care about that character, but I really enjoyed the plot as far as this individual like mystery thriller. I really enjoyed that part, but I didn't care anything about Will Trent, so that's what that is. If you've read any other Karin Slaughter books, if she has any standalones or something that you think I would be interested in, let me know. I can do dark, I just can't do a lot of dark right in a row. And I will tell you that reading like this book along with the Charlie Donlea books, and also reading The Killing Floor, pretty much all back to back, was a lot. It was a lot. It almost put me in a reading slump because it was just so dark and I needed something not dark. Anyway, moving on. The Killing Floor. This is the first book in the Jack Reacher series. Now, if you've watched the Tom Cruise movies, please do not let that be your judge for these books. It is nothing like that. However, if you've watched the Amazon Prime adaptation called Reacher, then it is exactly like The Killing Floor. It is the same thing. In fact, if you watch the show and then immediately try to read the book, you will probably get bored, which is why this one only got a 3-star for me. I think it would have been like a 4-star or a 5-star had I not watched the show. But I read like 50 pages of the book and it was so good, I had to watch the show, and I watched the show in one night. I am all for Jack Reacher and Roscoe. I ship them hard. And I don't think she continues in the rest of the series, and I just can't have Jack Reacher without Roscoe, because she is a female cop. And I was in the military. So again, something we can relate with. Women in places that usually women are not. In like the authoritative positions. Yes, I am all about women in authoritative positions. Give me some more. And so anyway, what happens is he is kind of a drifter. He got out of the military and he was like secret ops. Like he was like killing all these people and all this kind of stuff in the military, and now he's just like trying to be normal, and he don't know how to be normal. So he's walking through the city. He wants to find out more about this blues musician that apparently passed through like 50 years ago and died. And so he's just going there to find out information and eat a piece of pie. And then here come these cops holding him at gunpoint, taking him to the police station for committing a murder he knows nothing about. So then, throughout the course of the book, which is the huge one, it's like 500 and something pages, he has to convince them that he didn't commit this murder. And then he also wants to find out who the murderer is because, you know, his life has been inconvenienced. He's been thrown into this investigation. And, yeah, you find out who the first victim is a bit of a ways through the book, and then it gives him more motivation because he is connected to this victim. So he wants to find out who this killer was, not only at this point to clear his name, but also to exact revenge. And he knows how to murder people and get away with it because he would have to investigate these sort of crimes. So he knows to like pick up bullet shells and stuff after shooting people. He knows how to do all these things. So Jack Reacher is so funny, just so funny. The humor is amazing. It will make you laugh out loud. There's no way it won't. He is a modern day Sherlock Holmes. That's what he is. He's a funny Sherlock Holmes, okay? So if you want a funny Sherlock Holmes, then you should read The Killing Floor. Also, the show has the girl from Smallville that he was dating. It has her in there. She's like a mom in the show. It also has diversity in this book because there's like 3 main characters. So you've got Jack Reacher, Roscoe, and then you also have a cop. And the cop, the original story was set further back. So there was still like a lot of racist stuff from people. So even though he was in a good position as like a detective and everything like that, he wasn't being promoted, even though he was the one that should have been promoted. And it also leads into a little bit of the mystery of why is he there? Like a black cop in the South that knows being black is going to make his life harder to be in that specific location. So it does play into the storyline. So I loved having that there, which is another reason why I'm like, I hope the show deviates from the books a bit so that we can have these characters again, because I liked Finley. Finley was interesting. Finley's the cop. And so anyway, yeah, Jack Reacher, The Killing Floor. You should try it. Will I be continuing the book series? No, because there's like 20 books. Same thing with The Real Trent. There's like 20 books. I ain't got time for that. The most I've read out of a book series was 12 books. 12 books. And it was awesome. But I ain't got time for it now. I got too many books on my shelf to be committing that long to one world. Okay. Moving on. Romance, yeah. What I thought was my favorite genre, but apparently was like the third for the monthly average this month. We have Heartstoppers Volume 1. Just as cute as the show. If you like the show, you'll like the graphic novel. If you like the graphic novel, you'll like the show. It sticks very, very closely. The only difference that I didn't catch on, if it was a thing, is that Charlie is apparently popular. But he only talks to like 2 people in the entire graphic novel. So I'm like, why you keep telling me he's popular? You're not showing me this. And you don't get all of the side character dynamics that you get in the show. So the show's better at having like a more diverse like cast and really get into the things that are their like regions of diversity and exploring those. Whereas you don't get that in at least Volume 1. I am interested in continuing the rest of the graphic novels, and I saw on Goodreads today it said Heartstopper Volume 5. So like, is this series still ongoing? Someone please tell me, because I need to know. So if you like sports romances and like LGBT romances, like sweet slice of life type things, then you will love Heartstoppers. 5-star. Can't say anything else about it. You'll have to watch my other video where I get into details if you want those. But yeah. Then we've got another 5-star romance. Whoop whoop. Jen DeLuca is like a new fave romance author. She does not disappoint. This is the 3rd book that I've read from her. Yes, they are all part of the same series, in the same world, with repeating characters. But I love the writing style, and the humor is good, and just the character depth, and like all these background stuff, and like their family drama. I am here for it. If you liked Well Met, this is the 3rd book in that series. So you had Well Met, which was the 1st book. And then you had Well Played, which is the 2nd book. And now you have this book. Well Matched. So this follows people in this small town. They have a Renaissance fair every summer. The first 2 books are taking place at Ren Fair. The 3rd book does have Ren Fair in it. It's kind of at the latter part of the book. So it's there, but it's not the main focus of the book. This is more of the trope of an age gap romance. So you have one character, Mitch, who's in his 30s. He's got like the rockin' bod. He like, you know, he's a gym teacher, and he also teaches like after school sports and everything like that. And then you've got her. She's like 40 years old. Her daughter's graduating high school. Her ex, who left her when she got pregnant, is now wanting to come back into the doctor's life to kind of have like a, I forgot what she called it, but he like basically wants to applaud himself for like his daughter graduating when he wasn't there to raise her at all. So that's like the start of the book. She is like, okay, I put my life on hold. I had my kid. I kept her in this town because I knew this would be the best place to raise her. But now that she's graduating and she's going off to college, I am leaving. I am getting out of this small town. I am going to go like live in the city and pursue my dreams and do all of those sorts of things. So she's doing these home renovations in order to sell her house. And of course, she enlists the help of Mitch. And she gets his help for free. 1, because it's very obvious that Mitch has like a legitimate crush on her, even though she's like in complete denial. And 2, the fact that he is getting some services in exchange. And those services is her pretending to be his girlfriend. So fake dating trope, hello. And she is going to go with him to this like family reunion type cookout thing that winds up being more than just a dinner. I won't spoil you, but it's really good. And you get to see April through their relationship, kind of see parts where she hasn't allowed herself to integrate into the community, even though she's been there for 20 years. She just assumes everyone's judged her for being a single mother and a shut-in because she has lots of social anxiety. And she doesn't feel like she's part of the town. But as this fake relationship forces her to be part of this community, and she's joined like book clubs and stuff. Hello. It's just, it's working out really nicely. And Mitch, I love it. 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 It was so cute. Okay. You gotta read it. Then to our 4 stars. We have When My Sister Started Kissing. This is about 2 girls. Their mom died. She drowned while holding one of the daughters. She got struck by lightning and she didn't recover. She died. The daughter survived. So now they're returning to the same beach where they had their beach house where this happened. And there is now a new woman in the picture. The dad has remarried and the woman is pregnant and she's about to have her baby. The younger daughter doesn't want things to change. She just wants to have their beach trip without the stepmother. And the stepmother is trying her hardest to be a part of these girls' lives. Not to replace the mother, but, you know, to be the stepmother. And she just ain't having it. The older sister had kissed a boy that's like one of the neighboring boys the last time that they were there. And so now there's an awkward thing going on between them. And there's also this other guy that she's interested in. So she's kind of like, oh, that situation is awkward. So now I'm going to go hang out with this other dude. And there's parts where she's like convincing her sister to cover for her so she can like sneak out at night and go hang out with this other guy. It is very much so a coming of age story. There is romance, there's some kissing, but it's overall it's pretty light. It's not steamy or anything like that. Like it's age appropriate. And it does kind of read on the lower side, like more upper middle grade, younger YA. So that's what I mean when it's like age appropriate. It's like what you think of traditional YA, how it once was before the Sarah J. Masses of the world putting Court of Thorns and Roses into the YA section. Yeah, so family dynamics, and if you like stuff that takes place on the beach and a little bit of sibling adventures and friendship stuff, then you'll like it. She wore red trainers. Not going to get into that because I have that long video. So if you want to know more about that, you can go read it. It's got Muslim representation. It is a romance. It is as squeaky clean as it could possibly be. So don't read the book if you want there to be smooching. There you go. That's all I can say about it. But go at least go watch the vlog. If you're not going to spend the time reading the book because you're like, it's not worth reading the book if there's no kiss, then go read the vlog. I even read you the last page. So just go on. Then we move into the 2 stars. So we've got The Great Gatsby, which is a graphic novel. I thought it was very pretty. It has like the pencil drawings on the inside. I'll show you. Like that. Like color pencils. It was pretty. Things happened in it that I do not remember happening in the book, but I read the book in like 10th grade. Might have even been 9th grade. I don't know. It was forever ago. Probably 10th grade. Yeah. My favorite scene that I remembered from the book wasn't in the graphic novel, so I don't know if it ever actually happened in the book or not. I think I might have mixed it with one of the books from that 12-book series I mentioned earlier, because I know that book had the same scene where they're driving with the headlights off, trying to escape people, but for some reason I pictured that same thing happening with Daisy and Gatsby in a car with the headlights off, trying to outrun somebody that was following them. Like Tom or something, but maybe I made that up. I feel like I might have made that up, but there's definitely a car thing that happens in this story, and there were things where I was like, I didn't remember that happening, so I was like having gasping moments. So it was good, but it is The Great Gatsby, and there were things that I did not like about the story, but that were in the original story. So Tom is a prick. Okay, it's got spousal abuse. He breaks his mistress's nose like on the page, you see it. He is like flaunting the fact that he's cheating on his wife. And then you've got Gatsby and Daisy having an affair out in the open too, and getting Nick, which is supposed to be our honorable main character, who's facilitating these meetups. So I'm just like, these people are just not good. They got no morals. But anyway, I can't really blame Daisy because like her husband's horrible, but still, just leave the dude. If you want to be with Gatsby, just leave your husband and be with Gatsby already. My husband's cooking and it smells so good. I haven't ate since breakfast and it's like 6 o'clock. I've been working on figuring this video out since before 1 o'clock. I was making graphics at 1 o'clock was the last time I checked. This video is taking forever. Y'all better like it. Y'all better give me a like. Next book, History Is All You Left Me. This isn't a vlog, so again, go check out the information. I'll sum it up for you. This is about a guy who had a boyfriend. They're not boyfriends at this point, who died. And so then he's at the funeral, and the guy with his newer boyfriend is at the funeral too. So then they start forming a little bit of a connection, trying to bond over their dead lover. So the first 20%, you get to see a lot of flashbacks with the relationship. Those parts were very, 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 very cute, very happy. I really enjoyed them. However, the middle 25 to 75% of the book was a slog. It was just like, okay, I get it. He's depressed. He's making poor life decisions because he's depressed. But I was just like, And then you had some more things kind of happen at the end. So yeah, basically, if it was 25% of the book, 5 star. The last 75% of the book, no. So that's why it gets a 2-star for me. And if you want more details, 2-star. If you want more details, you'll have to go watch the video. Then I have Where I Belong, the one book that I got rid of this month. So this is about a spoiled, rotten rich girl who winds up no longer getting to have a credit card because there's economic stuff. There's depression, economic depression, whatever. And so she has to move to Texas with her grandparents, and her brother is with her, who she spends no time getting to know. She's just a brat the whole time. And then the whole time the author's trying to tell us that she's changed and she's become a better person. But she just, everything good that she ever does is forced. Oh, she gets a job. She's working with the horses. She's shoveling poop. Yeah, because she wants to spend more time with the other boy that's shoveling poop. And she was told she was either going to shovel poop or she was going to be grounded. Okay. Oh, she does a charity auction to help the community so that they can provide equipment so that they can then teach riding lessons to people with disabilities who need special equipment in order to ride the horses. Yeah, she only did it because her friend was coming there and she wanted to impress her friend and make it like a New York gala. She didn't do it for altruistic reasons. She didn't care. I was just like, And then, oh my gosh, all of the calorie counting and fat talking. I was just like, shut up. Shut up. And it's like, it's one of those times where it feels like you cannot separate the author from the book from the actual book itself because it's just in there all the time. And it's like, this is how the author thinks. At this point, it's not even a character. It's just like, And it was like the author was just sitting back and applauding herself for having this character eat a pancake. And I was like, really? She ate a pancake, but it's okay because she's got back muscles now from shoveling horse poop. Oh my gosh. And the romances were crap. Both of the guys were crap. The one guy, like, he sexually harasses her at one point, grabbing her butt. She didn't give him permission to grope her. And then she gropes him later in the book. And he didn't give her permission either. I'm just like, oh my gosh. And then the level of underage drinking was just a bit ridiculous. It was like they were constantly out in the field drinking. I was like, what is this? A drinking book and getting bad boyfriends? I don't understand the point of it. And it's like, oh, I've become such a good person by having to move to Texas and not having my credit card. And I'm just like, no, you're still the same crappy, selfish person. And then the end of the book, she gets everything she wants. And I'm just like, you've learned nothing. You have learned So the only reason why this got a 2-star, which meant it was okay, was that the reading experience was okay simply because of the fact that the pacing was good. Because the pacing was good, I kept reading. There was enough events happening where I look forward to it, and I kept wanting her to become a better person, but she never did. She never grew up. So really, 1 star. And the author didn't use enough contractions. I am sorry, but when you do not use contractions, the writing is not good. Even if you were setting it in the 1800s, people still talk with contractions, okay? It's natural speech. And when you make a character not have natural speech, guess what the writing comes off as? Unnatural! So yeah, aftermath-wise, this sucker deserves 1 star. But my actual reading experience was okay, which is why it gets a 2-star. Moving on, sci-fi and paranormal romance, and a little bit of horror. Her Dreadful Wheel. Okay, this was amazingly, beautifully written. The only reason why it gets a 4-star is because I had it in my mind that this author only wrote, like, erotic paranormal fiction, and it was not erotic. There was, like, 1 sex scene at the very end. Man, I had to work to get there. And I was just like, why so little when there was so much romantic tension buildup? And I just wanted there to be a higher percentage of the steamy bits, okay? But the writing and the world building was fine. The only other reason why I would say it was a 4-star other than a 5-star is, again, has to do with expectations. The amount of buildup that went into the beginning part of the book made me expect more from the climax. She wrote it as a standalone with the potential of becoming a series, but there's no continuation confirmed. So I felt like the end was like wrapped up enough to where I didn't feel mad at it. Like, I really enjoyed reading it, and I would read more from the author. However, it could have easily been a 5-star. I know that it was already like 500 pages long, but maybe it could have had like 100 more pages. Because there was an element where this character who she used to date shows up, and she just kind of escapes this issue that could have been an issue. And I was like, why'd you let her escape? That's too easy. You can't make it that easy. I need it to be harder. I need something bad to happen. And it's like all the potential stuff, like there's so much potential. So much potential. And it's just like, I wanted the potential to just explode. But it just kind of like fizzled. So it's like, yeah, I'm satisfied, but I want more. If there's a book 2 where it hits on that, I am down for it. I am down for it. So yeah, like writing style, world building, characterization, just the atmospheric style of the story, beautiful, top notch. The atmosphere, 6 stars. Like, it's off the charts. But I want more steam. And I want more life or death conflict. I need to see those things. And all the potential is there. The strings just need to be pulled. I need them strings pulled. That's it. Bound by Red. This is one that's in the vlog, so you'll have to go watch it. All I will tell you is that it has a girl who's like very smart. Like, she has a STEM type job, computery person. And it has a guy with like the BDSM stuff, and he's a werewolf, and she accidentally runs over him thinking that he's a dog, takes him back to her apartment, and then wakes up next to him and he's naked the next day, and things ensue. There's also an abusive relationship between her and this other douchebag, and this guy that she ran over is like, he knows that he's made it to her, but he's not going to be a prick by forcing her into anything or manipulating her into trying to give him a chance. So that's all I can tell you without any spoilers. It's only 100 pages. Go check out my review for more details. Then I've got Just Like a Pill. There was some problematic stuff on here with like just kind of like being a mean girl. And there wasn't any actual cheating, but like this girl totally would have been fine with it. Like, she was like, let me steal your boyfriend. Huh? The guy was being manipulated into continuing a relationship with the girl that he did not want to be with, because the girl's mom was like helping pay their bills. So that was really sad. The whole plot of this is that there is this pill that people have been given, and the like first person that they see that's like the opposite sex winds up falling madly in love with them and kind of becoming like stalker level attracted. It was interesting. It was fun. That's why it's a 3-star. But like there was just some issues with like the girl hate and stuff that I didn't like. Then we have Cast No Shadow. So this is one where I'm like, okay, it got a 3-star, but it's problematic. So my reading experience was okay, but there was definitely stuff in it where I was just like, I had to look past it in order to get through the book. It did have... Okay, let's just say that everything that made it where it could have been great and it would have had some diversity. Like, it had a girl that was more like curvy. It had like one of the main sub-characters was black, but it completely mistreated it all. Stereotypes. So, of course, the big girl, it's like, oh, let's subvert the bully trope. We'll still make her the big bully who's super strong, but she's only a bully against other bullies. But you're still doing the bully trope with the big girl. And then you got the tomboy element with her too, because she's got to be a tomboy if she's a big girl. And then for all of the black characters, there was only like 2. So you've got a father and a son. The father is a mayor. So I was like, great. Again, subvert the trope. Put him in a position of authority. Thank you. Finally. But then you make him stupid. And then the same thing with the guy. Stereotypical. And they make him this dumb jock. And I was just like, this is not the representation we need. Do better. I don't want to say anything else about this story. It's got some spooky stuff. He falls for a girl in a house. That's a ghost. That's all I can tell you without spoiling. Go watch the video. Or I talk about it more. That's going to be another one that I unhaul. I just haven't done it yet. But it will be unhauled. Carve the Mark and The Fates Divide. These are like controversial books. People say that there's like racist stuff in it. One of the things I think was one of the arguments was that there's like the white savior trope where like the white society, a member from it, goes into like the darker society and they're like, oh, there's all these issues, so I'm going to be the white savior and I'm going to fix everything. However, one thing I think I should point out is that neither of the sides are white societies. So I think that there is some misreading going on with some of those arguments. Now, when it comes to any other element of it having to do with race and it being racist, go at it, decide what you want. But as far as factual things that I can say is that neither of the races were white. It talks about how each sides have been completely mixed. Like, there's so much racial mixing going on that there's no, like, defined... There's not really any real differences. They're all people of color. None of them are white. But the chronic pain, I can see more of that. There's the controversies about this book. So if you want to avoid all controversies and you don't want to read a book like that, then don't read it. I wouldn't read it anyway because it was a 1-star. I thought I was going to love it because it's Veronica Roth. And it was supposed to be like sci-fi fantasy. And I was like, I'm here for it. But the sci-fi and fantasy elements were lackluster. I didn't get it. I didn't get it. And like my best friend loves the series. And I was just like, I was bored. I was so stinking bored. The only thing I liked about the series was when they wind up, they're together. And he can negate her power as far as when she touches him, she doesn't hurt him. It doesn't kill him if she touches him. So I liked them kind of being in scenarios together. But that was a very small portion of the book. There wasn't enough romance, okay? I need tension. I need there to be some tension. I need it to follow some kind of romance trope with like enemies to lovers, friends to lovers, something. But there wasn't. I was just like, And then in one of the books, they're like separate for a long time. And I was just like, I don't care. I don't care who dies. I don't care who dies. Okay. I don't care who dies. I don't care who lives. I'm just done. I'm bored. I'm so bored. I honestly should have DNF'd, but I kept going because it was Veronica Roth. Then we've got Dreams of Gods and Monsters. Another book I probably should have DNF'd because I was bored. So this is the 3rd book in a series. This is like the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series and Days of Starlight, something Starlight, I don't know. It's the 3rd book in that series. Now granted, it has been a very long time since I read the 2nd book. The 1st book I loved. First book I think I was like 5-star. The romance was really great. I loved getting to find out about the past and like the alternate life. All of that sort of thing was cool. 2nd book was interesting. I liked the side characters. They were funny. Like, it was interesting. It wasn't as good as the 1st book because, again, the characters were separate. I don't like when authors have a series and they give you the romance in book 1 and then in book 2 they don't have any tension, so they either have them have a new love interest and pull a Sarah J. Maas, or they're like, no, we're just going to separate the love interest and then we can put them back together in the 3rd book. Well, this one in the 3rd book, they're still not together. And I'm just like, what the heck, man? I need the romance, y'all. Give me the freaking romance. If it ain't got the romance, go away. So yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. There wasn't enough romance. The only thing that was cool about this book was the ending. I won't go into too much detail, but it had to do with the portals. The portals was cool. That was the only thing that was cool. I didn't care about the rest. And then I did not feel comfortable with the race change of the character. I was like, what? I get that these people are able to switch bodies, but if you are switching the race of the body, I'm just like, what? It just feels like it could be offensive to people. And so I'm just like, I don't know how other people felt about it. I was just like, I could see this would be offensive to people, and it made me not like that either. There are certain times where I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Like Wires and Nerve, where the Aiko finally gets a body and she's black. Fine. She never had a race to begin with. She was like an android. That's cool. Awesome. Please. But this one, it was like, she started off as a white girl. And it's by a white author. Okay? And I'm just like, this just, it seems like a misstep. It's like, oh, I don't have any diversity in my books at all. So now I'm going to make my main character black, and then I get brownie points. TV shows, changing races and stuff, yes. Please give me diversity where there once was none. But when the authors do it in the final book of the series, I'm just like, I don't understand. It just seems like they're reaching for brownie points, but they're not actually doing anything to advance the story. They're not doing anything to uplift the people that they're trying to like show solidarity with. It feels empty and could be offensive. I don't know. I haven't looked into other people's views, how they felt about a white girl changing. I don't know. Then lastly, we have Through the Woods. None of the stories felt like they were completed. I was like, where's the ending? Where's the ending? It's like, dun dun dun, the shark is coming. The end. Like, what? There was no shark, but you get my point. It was just like, let me get you a little scared, and then I'm not going to finish the job. That just made me think really dirty. Yeah, it's like that. It's like that. Okay, let's compare it to sex. This book is like sex when there's no climax. This is sex without the climax. The stories start getting somewhere. They start getting somewhere, and you're like, okay. And then just nothing. They just end. They're done. They're like, huh, I tried. No, thank you. No, thank you. And that is all. That is the 23 books that I read this month. What did you read? Let me know down below in the comments. Did you hate any of these books as much as I did? Did you like any of these books as much as I did? What should I read next based on my reading taste? You tell me. Baby. Okay, bye. Please like this video so I know that it was worth having to watch and edit an hour and 4 minutes of the take that I actually kept. Do a girl a favor. Bye.